A bell rings. A lever drops. A pellet falls. B.F. Skinner built a box in 1930 and proved a simple truth. Reward delivered on a fixed schedule makes a rat press the lever only when it expects food. But randomize the reward. Sometimes a pellet, sometimes nothing. And the rat presses that lever until its paws bleed. That's your phone. That's your thumb. That's the same neural wiring. Instagram's feed runs on a variable ratio schedule. Every pull of the thumb might deliver a photo of your niece, a meme that makes you snort, or a political rant that spikes your cortisol. You don't know, so you keep pulling. Dopamine prediction error is the name for that gap between what your brain expects and what it gets. When the reward exceeds the prediction, dopamine surges. When it falls short, dopamine drops. The brain hates the drop, so it pulls again. A 2019 study at Stanford tracked dopamine release in humans scrolling social feeds. The spike pattern matched slot machine players in Las Vegas. Same curve, same craving, same empty pocket. The feed isn't content. It's a random number generator dressed in pixels. And you are the rat. So what happens when you know the box is rigged? Hermann Ebbinghaus sits alone in a bare room. He chants random syllables like Bach, FIM, ZAR over and over, timing each attempt with a stopwatch. He measures his own forgetting. The curve drops steep and fast. Within 20 minutes, Ebbinghaus can't recall half the nonsense syllables he spent hours memorizing. His brain dumped the data. Platform designers weaponize this curve. They don't want you to remember content. They need you to forget so they can resurface the same post tomorrow. It's a cash flow play. Scroll away from a photo. The hippocampus tags the image as recent, then discards it to process the next swipe that arrives in milliseconds. You've never seen it before. The algorithm knows this. It waits 10 minutes, then pushes the identical meme back into your feed as if it's fresh. Your brain thinks it's new. Another dopamine hit. Another memory slot fills with shallow associations because the hippocampus never gets time to consolidate. The forgetting curve keeps the loop spinning. You never encode deep meaning. The hippocampus stays busy overriding itself with the next notification that just flashed on your lock screen. You reach for it. There's no bell curve to warn you. The algorithm engineered your forgetting so it can tighten the loop one more notch every time you pick up your phone. Your thumb twitches. Sophie Leroy read an experiment in 2009. She asked people to switch from one task to another midstream. The first task never left their heads. Attention residue, she called it. A cognitive ghost that drags from the last job into the next one. Each switch costs brain fuel. Now multiply that by 400 app opens a day. That's a tax you pay in milliseconds you never see. A 2018 study at Stanford measured this directly. They strapped EEG caps on heavy social media users and tracked their brainwaves during a simple sorting test. The results were brutal. Every notification that popped up dropped performance by 11%. Not a feeling. A measurable voltage drop in the prefrontal cortex. The same region that shuts down after 24 hours without sleep. You're walking around with a sleep-deprived brain and you never closed your eyes. The platform charges this fee every time you glance at a red badge. You swipe. A fragment of your working memory stays glued to the old post. The next video loads. Another fragment sticks. By the third minute, your mental RAM is full of half-finished thoughts. Nothing completes. Nothing deepens. The algorithm wins because you can't hold a single thread long enough to resist its next bait. What happens when you stop paying the tax altogether? Day 1. 0 dopamine spikes. Your D2 receptors sit empty, waiting for the next algorithm hit. Brain scans show a 20% drop in baseline receptor sensitivity after just 3 months of heavy scrolling. The fix is brutal. 7 days of total digital abstinence. No feeds, no scrolls, no notifications, just silence. A 2019 study at UC Berkeley measured dopamine release during a single Instagram scroll. It hit 40% of a cocaine dose. That's your baseline now. Starve it. Day 2. The craving becomes physical. Your hands twitch toward the phone. It's a withdrawal symptom, measurable in cortisol spikes. Dr. Anna Lemke at Stanford calls this the dopamine deficit state. The brain tries to compensate by increasing D2 receptor sensitivity. But that takes time. By day 4, the fog lifts. Your attention span stretches. You read a book. You don't check your phone. The algorithm loses its grip. But the environment matters. You can't just willpower through this. You need physical barriers. A lockbox. A timed safe. A friend with a key. Research from the University of Chicago shows that willpower alone fails 90% of the time. The phone must be out of reach. Out of sight. The trigger must be removed. Day 7. A notification arrives. You feel it. A sharp jolt. The dopamine surge is tiny compared to before, but it feels huge. Your D2 receptors are up by 15%. You taste the world raw. Colors seem brighter. Conversations feel deeper. The algorithm is a memory. But the question hangs in the air. What happens when you open the app again? Your phone sits face down on the table. A notification buzzes. You feel the pull in your chest. That's the cue. The algorithm trained you to reach for it. But you can rewrite that circuit. Habit stacking works. Pick a routine you already own. Brushing your teeth. Making coffee. Lock the phone in another room first. Then do the routine. The reward comes from the absence. No buzz. No scroll. Just a finished cup of coffee. Friction design seals the deal. Change one default. Turn off all notifications except calls. Add a 20-second delay. Type the app name. Wait. Watch the urge fade. Neuroplasticity cuts both ways. The same mechanism that wired you into the slot machine can wire you out. A 2021 study at MIT showed a 30% reduction in compulsive checking after a 2-week delay intervention. The brain learns that the cue leads to nothing. The dopamine spike dies. Your D2 receptors recalibrate. They stop screaming for the hit. The loop breaks. What happens when the algorithm has nothing to trigger?